Hello everybody, I'm Scott from V5RC, and today I'm going to do a quick explanation video of our first robot. We went into one competition with this, but we found a lot of flaws and we want to make it better, so we're going to do a rebuild. But here's a quick explanation before we do that. So move these trophies out of the way and go on to the robot. So for starts, well, let's start off with the drivetrain. We have a 450 RPM, 2.75 wheels. This is great for acceleration. It was really quick, but it was pretty slow. So it was really quick acceleration, but top speed, not quite there. So we're gonna improve that. I think we're gonna go 600 RPM for our next robot. And then we have two odometry wheels here. We got a horizontal and a vertical odometry wheel, and they're on the old encoders, but we're gonna replace these with the new ones, hopefully, for our next robot, if we can get enough funding for that. We're gonna get some better encoders on there. Should make our bot a lot better for programming. After that, we'll move on to MoGo mech. About the best part of our robot was our MoGo mech back here. So this MoGo mech is about the first thing we built. It works really good, and we've had no reason to change it at all. So we just stuck with it this whole time because it's really consistent, really good. So we'll start off with the lineup. You can see right here we have these like spacers on some screws. They roll and slide really nice. So what that does is whenever we're going into a goal, it'll just slide them into position. And no matter what way you go at it, it always pushes it in the right spot. So all we gotta do is just drive up and it lines up perfectly. And then we just press a button on our controller and it clamps it in just like that. As you can see, it's pretty vertical. We found that being more vertical helps with hooks just to get them to work better, but we might add a little bit more tilt for our next one just so there's no chance of people stealing, although we didn't have any issues with anybody trying to steal our mobile goal. So it is lifted a little bit, so it's not the easiest thing to steal from, but it's definitely still possible to steal. Moving on, I'll go talk about the doinker next. So it's pretty simple. It's just on a screw joint here with a C-channel hooked up to a piston. Actively extends, passively retracts with some rubber bands. This worked great. Before we had a piece of polycarb here to just sweep out all of them, but the refs don't know what they're doing. And they thought it was illegal to sweep 4 at a time with the doinker, which was hilarious. And I tried explaining to them, but they wouldn't let us do it. So we had to take that off. Fortunately, it was still fine. We still won our tournament, which is great. And then I'll move on to the intake next. So this was not the greatest intake and hooks. They worked, but they didn't work very well. They were pretty slow. You can see they're pretty slow here. So I'll start with the lower stage intake. We have 5.5 watt motor on 2-to-1, so it's running at 400 RPM. Our 2-inch flex wheels down here, and this is just on a C channel, just more C channels, and then some triangle bracing here and here. And then it can move up and down with this piston over here. It moves it up and down, and that's for getting stacks. So if we've got a stack of rings here, we can go like that and just get the top one, and it works great. We use that in some programming. Works really well. What we might want to add is some funnels here, because sometimes they would get stuck like right here. We had to spit them out and get them back in, so we might need to add some little funnels just to make our life easier when it comes to driving, and also improve the speed of this. We definitely want to make it faster so it'll pick them up easier. And so down here you can see we have just a piece of polycarbonate ramp here, and it won't hit the ground because we've got a bar underneath just there, so it stops it from hitting the ground. And then moving on to the next part is our hooks. These are our hooks. Some people use polycarb, but we just wanted to use solid metal because just in case they cracked or anything went wrong with them, these worked pretty good. And we used 2-inch flex wheels here just to help with this transition as well. So as they came up here, these flex wheels would spin and keep them up here. And also another thing that keeps them in are these two standoffs here. So these standoffs just give it good pressure so it doesn't fling out this way, which was happening before we had these here. So these were very helpful. And then this is running on an 11 watt motor at 400 RPM. So another thing, it's pretty slow. We're definitely going to increase it, reduce a lot of friction because we got a lot of friction in this this whole hook setup. So it's causing us to go for a bit lower RPM. It worked good enough, as I said. It won us Triple Crown at our first comp, but we definitely want it better for Space City, because Space City is going to have a lot harder competition. So that's what we got here, just a 2-to-1 gear ratio there on a 200 RPM. And then it goes to our hooks, which just go all the way up to here. And then I'll quickly show it in action here. And just like that. Works pretty good, but it's pretty slow. So it wasn't the greatest for skills. It definitely could do a lot better in skills if we just had a faster intake. So that's going to be one of our biggest priorities for our next robot, is to have just a quicker intake. And then moving on, we'll have this here. This is our Lady Brown arm. Currently it's not functional because on the way home it kind of fell out of the wagon that we had. The wagon tipped over as we were taking a corner, and it fell out and it kind of bent this whole frame here. So it doesn't really work very well. You see what happens pretty quick when I do this. It's not hooked up, and I would need to bend all the metal back. So it doesn't work, but I can manually show you what it does. So it goes to right here, and then this is where it would sit to pick up a ring, and then a ring would go inside of it. Let's see if I can one-hand this. A ring would go inside of it just like this, right? Hooks would take it up, put it right there, and then it would go all the way up just like this, and then onto a wall stake. And that worked great. We only had a couple times where we would miss, but most of the time it was really good. Got us some extra points in skills and qualification matches. And then we'll go on to hang. So this is kind of a last minute build. We just wanted to have something for hang, just in case it came down to a last second tiebreaker on a match. So this is just held down with the piston. You can see right here, it's held down with the piston, and then it's banded up with rubber bands. So that means that even if we run out of air, it'll always flip up. So if I press our hang button, it just releases, and they both flip up just like this. And then we just drive backwards onto the bar, and it works pretty good. It takes, sometimes it'll take a try or two, because it'll like not go all the way on, and we just have to drive forward and drive back again. But that's what you get for only spending about an hour building something like this. So in the future, we want to make it a lot smoother, so we can drive at low speeds or high speeds. So we're probably gonna make some sort of custom polycarbonate part, so we can drive onto it at any speeds and still get that hang. But with that, will take a little bit more time than what we spent onto this. And then quick recap of our tournament. We went 10-0 in all of our matches, and we won autonomous in every match except finals. And then obviously, as you can see over here, we got the light little triple crown. And then other than that, we're going into Space City pretty soon. So hopefully that goes well, but that's why we're doing a robot rebuild, because there's a lot that needs to be fixed and a lot that needs to be improved.